So I'm back for episode 3 of the Women in Sports podcast, and I'm really excited this week that we're not going to be speaking just about rugby. We're going to be speaking about a different sport and learning loads of new stuff to do with that. And today, I'm really, really excited to be joined by the England and Great Britain champion in hammer throw, Jess Mayho. How are you?
Hey Lois, how are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm all right. How are you keeping sane in the current situation?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I probably got it pretty lucky. A lot of people going out there and actually on the front line, and I guess all we need to kind of do is just stay at home. So for me, like, I'm just used to so much structure all the time with training, like you'll understand, and like training and work, and I've tried to kind of keep that structure a little bit. So still kind of getting up quite early, like going out training in the morning, coming back, like doing some work, eating, training in the afternoon, and doing some more work, and yeah, just trying to keep that structure, because otherwise, without the structure, I'd be going crazy.
I know the structure is the key, and I think doing these podcasts is a good one for me because it means that you actually have to get up and put a bit of makeup on, do your hair, and be prepared for it. Otherwise, I think I'm being
Next time in like 3 weeks, I've actually done something.
Well, I'm glad I've given you an excuse to get dressed up and ready to talk to the webcam and speak to me about training. I follow you on Instagram, and I've seen some of the training scenes. What's that been like in and around with your neighbours?
Yeah, interesting actually. The first few times I got a few funny looks, and like passers-by were just like looking, especially when I've got like the when I'm doing squats and I've got it balanced on 2 wheelie bins. People are just like, is she crazy? But yeah, like after that, everyone, like people are just kind of wanting to know like what you're doing, like some of my neighbours don't really know what I do. So yeah, it was just being quite a good conversation starter, I guess. And yeah, it's just trying to still train and trying to just adapt to what I've kind of got use of, really. We're lucky to get the gym equipment, some gym equipment from Implexus. So I've been trying to set up a little bit of a home gym, but I don't have the luxury of a garage, so it's just grim and bear it outside. So some days with like a woolly hat on, some days you're down to like training in a crop top and leggings. Like it's just standard British weather, and you just crack on, really.
Some would say crazy, but I think that's pretty creative using the wheelie bins. It's a good way to look at it, and I think that's like you're saying, the fact that neighbours are looking and thinking like, what on earth is she doing? I wonder why she's doing that, because it's probably not, I haven't seen anyone doing it in my street. So it is a great way of you spreading, what you're doing and getting the word out there about the hammer throw, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like there's a little path outside my house where I've been doing quite a lot of drills and turns. So any dog walkers just seeing a girl throwing a dumbbell in circles, they're just going to be like, what is she doing? But actually, yeah, they do ask, and they ask kind of what I do and how good I am at it, or like where I compete. And yeah, it's kind of nice just to have a bit of conversation, obviously, like with the 2 meter gap and stuff. But yeah, it's just nice to kind of have that chat with people, really.
And what about that reaction when they ask you how good you are, and you kind of have to just do that awkward, like, I'm all right. You're like, I'm going to be an England champion.
No. Like, yeah, you just kind of say, oh, yeah, I'm all right at it. Like, but to be fair, like, before I did it, I just thought it was strong people throwing a ball on a wire. So, but now I actually do it. It's such a technical event that I definitely didn't give it the credit it deserved before doing it. But I guess that's like it is with anything, really. Any sport, until you're in it and you know what it's about, you don't really know kind of everything that kind of takes to get there.
Yeah, well, I've got big respect. Loads of stuff we'll speak about. The fact that it's an individual sport, the fact of how many, like you say, it is very technical, how many different things that you've got to consider and work on in your training. And we'll speak about that all throughout this. But the biggest thing that I was thinking, because I get asked quite a bit about, like rugby, like how did you get into rugby? But like I've never done hammer ever, like not even in like high school. You used to do the 3, didn't you, of discus, shot put and all that sort of stuff, javelin. So how did you get into it? What stage did you give it a go and work out that you're not too bad?
So my sister was a really good cyclist, and her strength and conditioning coach, they'd been chatting in the gym, and she said, oh, my sister's really tall for her age. I was 16 at the time. And so he said, "Oh, bring her into the gym." And he was a strength and conditioning coach, but he was also a hammer throwing coach. So I went in and just kind of did some exercise with him, nothing with a load of weight. But he said, why don't you come down to the track? Now I'd been a member of like a local athletics club for years, but never, as you said, never tried hammer throwing because it's just not that accessible. And so I went down to the track and tried it with Mike, and I was shocking. I was absolutely horrific. Like, I was here, there, and everywhere. I mean, I was falling over, but I probably provided some entertainment for everyone. But it was, for some reason, I kept on going back, and I think it was that challenge, and it was something different. I'd done loads of different sports. Like, I'm one of 3, so I've got 2 big sisters, and I just, we've all kind of been involved with sport and tried everything, which I think is like really important, not to like focus on an event so young. So I'm quite glad that I've had that broad range of trying things. And I played a lot of netball, but I'd had shin splints and, the different injuries along the way. And just kind of tried hammer throwing, and it was weird because I wasn't good, but I wanted to still go back. And it was like that challenge every time. Every session was hard in different ways. And for some crazy reason, I kept on going, and here I am.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the sport itself, and you're definitely very, very glad that you kept going back. Do you think it's the fact that it's like, I always think about rugby, like when I was growing up, no one else used to play it, and I think I quite like that it were unique to you, and I don't know, the fact that it were different, that you wanted to do it a little bit more. Do you think you felt like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think I used to play quite a lot of netball, and I was at that level where, they said, look, you can go for England screening, or, you look at your athletics, and I'd kind of got to a point where sometimes we'd go training and, other people, maybe, they might have been out the night before, or, other people weren't coming to the court maybe as fresh as I was, or vice versa on some days. And it kind of just got to the point where I was like, I want to do things. So if I have a good day, then it's on my shoulders. But if I have a bad day, that's also kind of mine to work on. And so, like it does have its challenges. But like I'm kind of glad that I did stick at it, and gave it a proper go.
I think that's really interesting. I didn't even really think about that as a reason for maybe, well, I didn't, but like wanting to do an individual sport. Like, you think about that, when you're in part of a team, it can take one person to kind of disrupt that sort of like team ethos that you've got by some behaviours. And I never really thought about the fact of, how much that made a difference. But then on the flip side, you're in a sport where it must be quite tough because there's disqualifications, injuries, you go through them kind of not on your own, but you kind of are on your own. And then, like getting consistency. So obviously I've done my research. You're impressed with my professionalism. I already know, but like saying that you want to get that plateau in the throw, because if at least you can consistently get that. But how do you deal with the fact that you maybe not getting to that point?
Yeah, I mean, it has been a journey, and one that I think I've definitely grown with as well. So I started when I was 16, but I went to university. I did like the university life, and I actually got back into netball and hammer. I'd go once a week, but it was like 2 trains and 2 buses to get to the mighty Cleckheaton to go and train with everyone. So that was a challenge. So it did take a back seat, but then coming out of uni, it was the other people kind of going for their proper jobs, or grad jobs, and I moved back home with my parents because I wanted to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And it was that kind of like it's maybe not what other people would kind of put out there as to the ideal route, but it's that kind of, you are on your own and you are in the driving seat of it. And you can put as much or as little in, and you'll see the results of both outcomes then. And for me, it's been since graduating from university. I was 21 then, 26 now, so it's been 5 years of what I'd feel like's been like the proper journey really of my throwing. And I look back now and I'm like, oh, if only I knew what I know now when I was 21. But then you just got to accept that's sport, and that's my journey, and it's individual to everyone. And it's life, what you know now in life is different to what you know when you're 18 or 16 or 21, and it's that kind of knowing that each year I'm building my like toolbox of stuff that I know about myself, the way that my body operates, the psychological side of things, like you said, competitions, disqualifications, which have happened. But without them happening, you can't, it sounds cliche, but you can't learn from it. Like you need them to happen, and I'd rather them happen now at a point where I'm in my career where it's, I'm still kind of trying to bridge that gap to world level, but happen now rather than happen when I am on a world stage. So it is a journey, but although it's one that I'm on my own, I'm not, because I've got such a good support network. It's a group of us, really.
No, that's brilliant. And I think the one thing that I sort of took from that is you just can't skip any part of the journey, can you? It's kind of everything does happen for a reason, and even at the time you just think you can't really work it out, but I think that everything's there, and you can't brush past that, can you? So
yeah, like you'll know yourself, Lois, with injuries in 2017. I had an injury, and it tests you, doesn't it? Like it tests how much do you actually want it, like how much you want to keep doing this. Like when your friends are going out partying every weekend, or they've got the flexibility to go for, to just go out whenever they want, go on holidays, when they want and can, and it does kind of just reassess things. And like, I don't know about yourself, but when I was in my injury process, I had a really good support team, and tried to see it as an opportunity rather than a negative. And actually it was a point where I could actually strip everything back and go, okay, what is working in the setup that I've got, and what's not, and what maybe do we need to change. And that was probably the best thing that could have, hindsight is a great thing, but it's probably the best thing that could have happened was actually having that injury, because sometimes when you're in that like merry-go-round of life, aren't you, you just kind of keep going, and you see some results, so you kind of tick along, but you don't actually have that time to sit back, which injury actually forces you to have, to sit back and reassess. And yeah, like I was itching to get back, and that's when I knew that I'd not finished what I'd started out to do. And I'd always said right from the beginning, like, I'm going to keep going until A, I'm not good enough to be at the level that I want to be at, or B, I stop enjoying it. Because I think if you don't have the love there for it, there's only so much trudging in the mud and wind and rain that you can do if you have fallen out of love with it. So it's still a journey that I'm loving. So
definitely, and I think you're right on what you say with injury. I think it teaches you more than you'd ever know. I know that we've spoke often and stuff when I see you, because you work at the home of where Leeds Rhinos Women play, so I see you quite often up there. But it does teach you a lot about yourself, and you can't. And I'll agree with you on that. The fact that when you do get injured, it gives you time to put things into perspective and really, really think about what process you've got in place. So when I was injured, it was, like even like your work, like what do I want to do in work? Am I enjoying that side as much as I want to do that, or what can I do to make my job better? How can I give more? Because when you, like you say, when you are stuck in that routine of get up, you go to the gym, you go to work, you train, and you do it all over again, don't you?
Yeah.
It's probably a really good thing in hindsight, like you say. And I mean, on that journey, you're smashing it at the minute. 2019, what a year! Just talk us through that. PB champion.
Yeah, so no, I was really lucky. At 2017, at the end of 2017, I had the injury. I had my knee surgery. 2018, we were just trying to. We used that as a year of just trying to get back into it. You had not had a winter. So our season goes from February really to September, right. And then the rest of that is winter training. So I'd not really had a winter of training. I didn't end up coming out and competing until May of 2018. So that was just kind of, I think it was 62 and a bit meters. but you know, it was that always kind of looking at where I was like 8 months ago, and I was doing like isometric exercises because that's all I could do. So it was that kind of always trying to look at like how far we'd come, but not kind of looking too much at that, and just always kind of wanting to go forwards. And so 2018 winter, I had a really good winter training. I got a new coach, decided to keep it local and find a coach in Portugal. So got a new coach, and so that was like 2018. And then going into 2019, basically 2018 in September, we'd sat down in this Spanish cafe and we'd written out what we want to achieve in 2019. So we made our list, and just the two of us knew what we wanted to, you know, to get and to do. And I was just so chuffed that I could get everything that we'd put down on that list by the end of the 2019 season. And you know, I got my first GB selection. I got England selection through PBs, and I had a healthy body, and that for me was just, it was so key, because it was finishing like the 2018 season. I finished on 62 meters, but I finished healthy, and I was fit to go into a good winter then. And it sometimes you just kind of got to take it back to that, like, yeah, we're in a time at the moment now where we might not be able to do the sessions that we want to do, you know, the heavy lifting sessions or the throwing sessions, but actually, like, what can we do? And like, we are healthy, so actually if you've got your health, then you're pretty good, aren't you? Yeah, so 2019 was a dream. I just got to back it up now.
Well, when you get going, I've got all faith in you. So 2019 threw a best of 66.4 meters. That's class. What do you reckon your first throw was at that track back when you were 16 or whatever old?
God, Lois, I don't even think you ever made it to the grass.
It went in the wrong direction. No, but all joking aside, absolutely class, and I'm really, really glad that after coming through, obviously, the injury, I know it is tough, like the rehab. I see, I were lucky, I were part of a squad, so when I were going through back into 2017, back into 2018 into 2019, I created my own little rehab club, so anyone who got injured at rugby, I were kind of like, welcome into my friendship group, and we all laugh about it now, but that's what got me through. Yeah,
and that's complete. Like, that side of things, you really do miss. Like, I miss the banter. I miss that kind of support network within your team. And so, yeah, solo sports do have the pros, but they've also definitely got the cons. And yeah, like, you know, the amount of, even this year, you know, in January, I just sat, it was windy, it was rainy, I was throwing, and I'm in this field in the middle of nowhere throwing, and yeah, the rain's battering down, standard Yorkshire weather really. And I'd had a rubbish session, my body was tired, everything, you know, you just got DOMs, and I just sat on a stone and cried. Like, I've had enough. Like, you know, when you just feel like you're getting tested all the time. And I was like, I've had enough, I'm done. And like, I look back on that now, I'm like, I actually probably needed to just do that. And it's really okay just to have those times, just to have your moment, but just don't stay there. Yeah. And definitely. Like, I had a few days away from training and routine, and I think I needed that. And then, like, it's a long time for throwers that can't do indoors, like shot put, they can do indoors, but for us, we've got to wait till the summer season. So you start your like winter training in September, and so by January, you're just like, you're itching to kind of know where you are, like what kind of condition you're in, like how far you can throw in a competition. But it's January, so the coach is trying to put the brakes on you and not, like, you know, keep your head down and keep focused, but you just kind of want that like confirmation that you're doing okay. And I think in that time in January, I didn't have that confirmation. And then we had a competition in February then, and that went well. So it was a kind of like, okay, relax now and just kind of keep plodding away at it, and it'll come good. In that aspect, it's quite similar to rugby in the fact that pre-season is always very, very challenging, very, very testing. And I was thinking about, you know, what sort of things would be important to speak about. And
I've tried to get one of your mates involved in rugby. I don't know if you do. I'm going to say it, but Chloe, who we train with it in Plexus.
Oh yeah.
The photo shoots. When we first ever launched Leeds Rhinos Women, I said to her, we do the photo shoot, so we needed I had a netballer do it, Chloe, and then a younger girl who played community rugby to do like all the photos. And I've been told that she's pretty quick, so I tried to say like, you should give it a go, and she wasn't having none of it. Have you ever thought about it? You've watched some of our games up at Wheatwood. What do you reckon?
I think I'd probably just be like, just have the ball, and I'd probably run the other way. Completely, like, fair play to you guys. Like, I would, if somebody was coming at me ready to take me out, I'd be like, have it.
At least you pass it far for somebody.
I'd just be like, go on, and just chuck it far.
As long as it's sideways and not forwards, would be all right. So you touched on it earlier. You went local, and your new coach is situated in Portugal. So, like, talk like George. Is it George?
Yeah,
George Rodriguez. How did that come about? And yeah.
So there'd been a group of us that had gone out for a one-weather training camp in Portugal, and we'd always kind of go to the Algarve at the bottom, where everyone else kind of goes, but it got a bit hectic. It was basically like Brits abroad, all throwing. So I said to the guys, I was like, let's try find somewhere else. So I'd got recommended this place. It's about an hour north of Porto. So I booked it. We all went out there, and it's basically just a big field with like 4 throwing circles and a big bunker shed. Really glamorous. So we all went out there, and I was with my old coach at the time, who I'm just so grateful that stuck by me and kind of, took me through that transition of where I was at uni into when I was 21. And we all went out there, and George actually said to my coach at the time, Matt, he said, that girl will throw far. And that was, his English was so limited, but that was the first thing that he said. And I remember Matt telling me that, and it just kind of stuck with me. Like, he just really believed in me. And so, that relationship just kind of, we kept in touch when I came back to the UK. And Matt was happy for me to kind of go out there if and when I could, to do some training with George. We decided that I was going to make that move over and have George coach me full time. And it's just been it's been a journey. Like, my Portuguese is still so bad, but his English has got so much better. And in a way, like, because the vocabulary isn't that vast, it's quite just basic instructions, which I think sometimes good when you're being coached, because you don't want to be bombarded with loads of information. Yeah. So when it's just like short phrases that he can say to me about his feedback, sometimes that's good. I don't know about yourself, but I'm such an overthinker as well. So if I'm given too much information, and my head's just fried. So for me, it was really good. And that relationship just kind of grew over time. So it's been coaching me now for the last few years. We've done really well, and it has been a team effort. Not just with George, but, people I've got back here, and nutrition, psychologists, physio, everyone. And so when I do get like the selections or the good results, it's not just me, it's a we. It's like, we did it, because it is like, those are the kind of people you don't see, because they're not the ones chucking, but the ones behind the scenes,
And with him, so a lot of all of his coaching is over WhatsApp and video calls, isn't it?
Yeah, so just to make it easy for us all, I thought I want to have a coach there in person, and just go for WhatsApp video call. So so he's in Portugal at the throwing centre there. I'm at my throwing centre, which is again just a big field and a throwing circle, and put him up on my tripod, which again gets some funny looks from dog walkers. And we just have a 1 hour, 2 hour session, it's good. As I say, his English has got really good now, so the feedback is good, and we can have have a lot more chats outside of just hammer throwing now, because he's got to know me. And when I go over there, I stay with him and his family. So I really have no excuse for not knowing Portuguese.
No, not really.
It works. It's unique. But actually, like, there's people now that when we're in this lockdown that are trying to coach their athletes virtually. So I feel like, oh, well, I'm a little bit of a heads up on that one.
No, I feel like he should do a podcast on it. Like, George, tell the world exactly how he's been doing it for the past 2 years. He'd be absolutely killing it. And on that, so you spoke about nutrition there, like how I think that's what a lot of people will find tough in this sort of isolation period, where I keep seeing memes everywhere about like the only tan I'm getting is off the light in the fridge, and putting notes on. Like, how are you finding it?
Yeah, well, I put one on the other day, and it was Amora from Love Island, actually, and it was like, this is what my fridge sees, and it was just my face the whole time, because I'm just constantly looking, and I think that goes back to structure. Like, when you've got the structure, then I find I'm okay. Like, I kind of try to eat when I would normally if I was working and training. But it's like on a Sunday when I've got a rest day, I'm just around the house. I don't have that much structure. I'm like, I can just hear the chocolate in the cupboard saying my name, you know?
Well,
I'm just like, if it's there, I'll eat it. So just don't bite it, Jess.
They're the same conversations I have with myself going around the shop, and I have to go when I'm not hungry. I'm hungry. I've once actually walked around the shop, put loads of stuff in the basket, and then like looked at it, and had this. You have that person on that shoulder, and then the other person on that shoulder. That person like, yeah, that all looks really good. That one, you need to walk around the shop now and put it all back where it was, because you don't need to eat that. But I've tried baking because I've got time. I never have time. I'm usually either, coaching on a Saturday, game on a Sunday, coaching Tuesday night, Thursday night, Monday night, and sometimes out on a Wednesday. So I've like got time, and I think, well, everyone's probably thinking, let's try something new. So other than learning more Portuguese, are you doing a bit of baking as well?
Well, there's not been any flour in the shops. Like I said to you earlier, you're actually propped up on my only thing of flour. So if it falls back, I'm not going to be any baking this week. But yeah, so being trying to be good, to be honest, and not being. Everyone's been baking banana bread. I've baked one. I don't know why everyone's chosen banana bread, but anyway. But yeah, I think it's the temptation, isn't it, of, because I'm living on my own as well. If I bake, it's only me that's going to eat it. So
I'd be dropping it off like at different people's house. Like my hours exercise, I'd be like, Mum, brother, drop it off. I can't have it in the house because otherwise I'll eat it.
Now for you, Lois, I'd be like, Mum, brother, I'll just eat them all.
On that though, I can tell you the reason that people are baking banana breads from the worst baker ever. It's because they're easy. If I can make a banana bread, anyone can make a banana bread, and that is the only reason people are making them.
Just put it on the pin and hope for the best.
But on that anyway, so I spoke about like trying to keep structure and trying to keep like, I guess, professional and like committed to the cause, even though it seems like so far away at the moment. And what I wanted to speak to you about is because we get this in rugby, and the fact that the girls are playing at an elite level. However, it's not your only job. You've got to do your day job, and some of them are mums, some of them, are really tough and demanding day jobs, and they have to do that. And then the sport kind of is not, I wouldn't say it comes after, because it kind of sits to the side. So they've got a lot to do, and that's a big thing that I like to speak about is, what does the professionalism and the commitment mean to you, and how do you kind of balance that, and why is it so important?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's hard. There's no sugarcoating that. There's times where I wish that I didn't have to work, but then you quickly realise that actually I'm lucky that I'm able to be in the position where I do have a job, and it's kind of thinking of that plan B as well in the back of your head. Not because you want the plan B to happen, but if sport's taken away from you tomorrow, like, what have you got? And I think that's maybe like trying to have the positive outlook of like balancing for myself, a full-time job and training twice a day, 6 days a week, and trying to balance everything. it is hard, but I know that I'm not the only person that's trying to do that. So, you know, I'm not wanting sympathy for that at all. It's just how well you can sometimes balance all the plates, isn't it? And I think as women in sport and at elite level, I think it's moving in the right direction. Like the opportunities that young girls and young women have now got compared to 10 years ago, it has improved massively. And I think that's so exciting for the sport, all sports. And I think hopefully in time it'll get to that point where, like you said, you know, the women's rugby at an elite level, they might have the opportunity of being full-time, and that'd be amazing to see that happen. But yeah, I think just trying to see like it as a positive that I do work, because I think if I was just constantly training, like I'd be always thinking about that session that might not have gone well, or I'd be thinking about it too much just in general. Whereas like I'll go train, I'll get a shower, come back, like I'm back in the office, and I'm there getting like banter thrown at me left, right, and centre from the guys in the office. You know, that kind of thing where it's just like you're back into that environment, and you got to leave that session on the field. You can't be bringing like the bad into work and work onto the field. So it is quite good to be able to learn to switch off. It's just trying to have that positive outlook on it, really, that it is hard to work full time and train, but it is what it is, and it's a life I've chosen, so just crack on.
A healthy distraction, and potentially when everything goes to plan and you kind of achieve everything you want to achieve, that makes it even sweeter, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, it's definitely, it's a luxury to be able to train full time, and I think some people might not realize like how good they've got it until they've then got to go to work, or you know, to balance everything. And like you said, it's just a challenge, and it's one that like I've chosen to take. So yeah, you just got to get on with it.
So speaking about that challenge, then what are your goals moving forward? What's the sort of like 2 or 3 year or 4 year plan look like?
Yeah, so this year we wanted to get selection for the European Throwing Cup, which was a couple of weekends ago in Portugal, which we got, which was great. But then it got cancelled because of everything that's going on, which is understandable. And the British Championships now have been pushed back a couple of months. So we don't know. They've been pushed back till August, and the England Championships as well. Not too sure what's going on with them just yet. But long term, beyond this year, obviously Tokyo's been moved back a year, so that lets me get another year of throwing and lifting and technique work under my belt, and see what happens. So just seeing that as an opportunity that, you know, that's now there, that we can add into our goals. But the 2022 we've got home Commonwealths obviously in Birmingham, and the World Championships as well in 2022. So I mean, it sounds mad that we're talking about 2 years away, but it just flies. And you know, that's only two seasons, and we're already halfway through one of them. So yeah, it's good to have those goals, but I think it's also kind of good just to take it day by day. Otherwise, like, I don't know about yourself, you can get so hung up about, I need to make this team, but actually, like, you're so focused on that, you're missing out on what you're doing every day. And it's those everyday sessions that you need to build up to create that outcome. But yeah, my 21-year-old self might not have thought that.
Yeah, but like you say, I think it's a great thing in your sport to have that maturity, because one, like, speaking to you, I'm finding it just dead interesting just how you sort of, how everything's come about, and how grounded you are, and how smart you are with what you're saying, what you're doing, and you're absolutely smashing it. But then it's just a great attitude to have, and a great outlook to have, and it's brilliant. And I was thinking, obviously, we spoke about how you got into Hammer, and like, where do you want it to go for sort of like, I feel like it's on a bit of a similar journey to rugby. Like with rugby, it's kind of got bigger and bigger. When I first started doing the development officer job at Leeds, like it were here, and it's moved all the way across, not not because of me, because of the great work that is going on in the community and the RFL, making sure that last year the women's final were live on Sky. When you first got into Hammer, did you have any role models? And also, like, I know you're going to school, so speak to me a bit about like that. Like, how good is that? How much is that making a difference?
Yeah, so role model wise, I don't know. Some people like so fixated on one person, but I kind of like qualities from different people.
Yeah.
But also like people that I kind of work with on a daily basis or speak to on a daily basis, like their attributes. I'm like, yeah, I really like that, like how hardworking they are, or like how passionate they are about something, or you know, the kind of what they'll put themselves through to get there. And you know, I've got such an amazing family, and you know, I look up to them. Both my sisters have been in sport to a high level, and you know, I look at them and what they've achieved and how they've achieved it. And I guess they're my role models as well, like mum and dad. And you know, it's sometimes you don't have to be these celebrities, or like, you know, I've got such appreciation for like Jess, and like seeing the journey that she's been on, and like listen to some of her podcasts, and that's amazing. But yeah, I think sometimes you don't want to compare yourself too much to people either, or strive to be so much like somebody, because yeah, we're all different, aren't we? But yeah, going into schools has been interesting. Like, I mean, I've taken my hammers, and I've taken a couple of hammers and some medals and stuff, and they're just like looking at me like, who is this crazy lady? Like, it's not like a runner taking some running spikes or something like that. But yeah, a hammer is just like out there, but it gets their attention, which is actually quite good. And it's been really interesting, really quite rewarding to go in. And like, there was this one girl, and she said to me, so we did a lesson together of the kind of the drills that I do, my warm-ups and stuff like that. And she just said to me, she was like, I've been told I'm never going to be good at anything. And for me, that was just like, absolutely. She said, I've been told I'm not going to be good at anything. I'm too big. I was like, absolutely not. And so once the session had finished, we just had a little bit of a chat. And that for me was just really nice to be able to have that, because people might not have the upbringing that I've had, you know, as I said, really supportive family, and some people might not have been lucky enough to have that support. And you know, we're all good at something, we might just not have found it yet. And so going into schools it's been entertaining, like the questions that you get.
Go on, you get any.
I really wish I could. Like after I come out from the schools and I catch up with like mum or dad, and we're just chatting about it, and it's brilliant. It's just they're just so raw, aren't they? And they just say there's no filter then. I love that. But yeah, it's entertaining, but it is really rewarding, just to be able to speak to people that might not have people making time for them elsewhere. Yeah, it's been pretty good.
I always said when I first started my job at the foundation, I was speaking, I think, to my auntie who used to be a teacher, and I said, like, you should probably write a book, even if it's just for yourself, like write everything that the kids have said. And then if you're having a tough day, just go back and read it, or, you know, it might even be able to sell it as a bestseller, because they're honestly the class, some of the stuff that they come out with, and they make the day a little bit better. But on that, that's probably similar with rugby, and brilliant that you're getting that opportunity to like inspire girls and give them that confidence, because like with rugby, there's 13 players on a field, and none of them are the same. They're all different. They've all got different attributes. So whether you're the one who's quick and can run really fast, or you're the one who's tougher and can run through anything, or you're the smart one who works out how to, you know, run but not get caught, and things like that. There's a space for everyone, and I think that's a really important message that you're giving out in those schools, because it's a bit similar to, you'd always played netball and someone had that belief that you'd be good at Hammer, and then that your coach was yours, believing in you, kind of how much confidence that gives you, and how important that is to your life, because it kind of paves that way of taking healthy decisions and taking decisions that, you know, could set you on a career path. Like, I never thought playing rugby would mean that I'd done all the things that I have, and I'm sure you're the same with hammer.
That's the good thing about sport, though, Lois. Like, you know, it's not just I throw a ball on a wire, or you guys you throw a ball around. It's not just that. Like the amount of like skills and knowledge that are transferable over, you know, as you'll know now you're retired, like stuff that you've learned through sport. It is so transferable, and that's why like there's so much when you're going into these schools and you're speaking to them. There's so much that sport can give, and it's just trying to show that to them. It's not just about what I'm bringing in, which is the medals and the England vest. It's about like your friendship groups, you know, how you can deal with things mentally, you know, your perseverance level, you know, and commitment. And there's so many more things that sport can just give apart from medals. And that's really good to kind of see as well.
100% agree. 100% agree. And on that stuff that you spoke about, the girl saying that, you know, she's been told that, I think you said she's too big, she won't be able to do that, whatever. But you've like been quite outspoken in regards to like body image and stuff like that. You had like quite a negative, what was I trying to say? A negative experience. That's what I'm thinking. Mine went blank then. And you were quite open with that. And I see it all the time in schools about girls thinking they have to be a certain way to do sport or to do a particular sport. Like, how important is it for you to sort of like break down those barriers, especially associated with sports like rugby and hammer?
Yeah. I think I'm still breaking down the barrier for myself, to be honest. You know, there's in the gym, I don't know about yourself, but in the gym, like I feel strong, I feel like powerful, or when I'm throwing the hammer, I feel strong, I feel powerful. And then you take that gym kit off and you go into like a normal public scenario where you're wearing just normal clothes and you think, oh, my legs look really big, or my arms look really big. And like sometimes I do still think that, you know, we've all got our own hang-ups, I know, and it is that kind of, actually, Jess, your legs are not big, they're strong, because you can squat however many kilos.
Well, what's your PB? I'm interested.
220.
Jesus, that's class. Yeah, I'm about 120 off that.
That's right. I'm also probably a lot heavier than you, Lois.
Probably not. Not my isolation.
But yeah, it's like, actually, you need to think, it's my body, and it's the way that I'm built to be able to do what I'm currently doing. Like, it's not going to be my body size for the rest of my life, but to be able to throw a hammer, like I wouldn't be able to do that if I was the shape of a high jumper, for example. So it's understanding, which, you know, I am, sometimes I do have my, majority of the time I'm fine. It's sometimes, you know, everyone does have those days, don't they? And it's actually then going, well, Jess, you've got a body that's actually working and it's doing pretty well. You know, it's healthy and it's what you need it for your event. So yeah, I think it is hard sometimes, the body image and the perception that people have. You know, when I tell people, they say, oh, what do you do? And I say, oh, I'm a hammer thrower. You know, you can imagine the response you get. Oh, well, I thought that was big people. You know, I thought that was fat people, and I'm just like, no. I said, you know, it's actually strong people. And, you know, there's girls that I compete against that are bigger than me or they're smaller than me, but I've got the appreciation for them all, that's the way that they're built, and they're doing the best that they can with what they've got, with their figure, and just embracing that. You know, everyone's different, aren't they? You know, you're not, there's no kind of, you shouldn't have to be a typical body shape to be able to do something. And, you know, although it does help, for instance, you know, like I said, high jumper being that, you know, slighter than myself, because you've got less weight to take over the bar, you've got that spring in you know, but it's just that kind of understanding that actually the way that I am is what I need it to be for this time in my life at the moment.
Well, you're brilliant, and I think you've got to realise that, you know, it's that thing, people always want what they haven't got as well, and there are people looking at you and being absolutely envious of, she can squat 220, you know, you to them will be exactly what they'd want to look like. And I think that it's right what you say is it's about what you need to be able to do with your body. And I mean, I remember, like, I've always had like quite big legs, like quite big like thighs, just because I think that's where, like, if I put on muscle or even if I put on weight, that's like as soon as where it goes to. So when I went through all my surgery on my leg, I think I lost like 10 kilograms at least, and I ended up going down to like a size 8 trousers. And it's always something that I thought I'd probably like, but then for me, it would just negative straight away, because it's like, well, that actually just means my body can't do what I want it to do, but also like it's not how it probably should be. Now I look back, I think actually you look pretty ill, like compared to what I know you should be like, and I'd much rather be able to be in the gym, even though I'm not playing anymore. I still want to be able to, prove to myself that I can do anything that I'd maybe ask a player to do. Like, that's probably just me. I'm a bit of a weirdo, but I think it's important that you look at what your body can do and how brilliant it is. And remember that there's always someone out there who would love to look exactly how you look. So I think you're doing a brilliant job in spreading that message in schools, and you're doing a brilliant job for yourself. And I think a good way to finish off is, we're in isolation. I keep asking people this. We're in isolation, and people are thinking about new things to do. You're thinking about the fact that you need to learn more Portuguese, and I'm thinking about doing less baking. But what message have you got to anyone who's watching, maybe thinking of giving hammer a go, or thinking of just giving something new a go? Because it's really important to step out your comfort zone every now and again.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like, going back to the start of our conversation, I tried hammer and I was shocking. And but I really enjoyed it. So it might be that you try something and you might not be good at it, but you might just really enjoy that challenge, or enjoy the headspace that it creates for you, or enjoy, it's not necessarily hammer throwing, but it's something that if that makes you tick, then why not carry on going with it? Like when I started, it wasn't necessarily what people thought I would do after finishing university, when people were all going for grad jobs, but it made me tick, and it was what I was really enjoying. So people supported that. And yeah, I think if you find something that you like why not just see how far you can go with it? I think it's pretty good. And and just lay off the baking, Lois.
The good thing is, it's not even edible.
If you're going to bake, I'll just send you my address.
You honestly don't want a delivery. Matt comes down and he'll just look and go, what is that? And he's, why bake stuff that I wouldn't like? And I try to bake some healthy stuff, and it's backfiring because all the recipes go wrong, Jess.
Live the Lois. Live, and it's been a success.
Yeah, well, it's been brilliant to talk to you, Jess. Thank you so much for taking time. I've taken a lot from that, of just living the moment, and everything happens so that you can get to the next point. And I think that's a great message for you to send to everyone, that perseverance is key, and if you enjoy it, that's all that matters. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best. 2019 my class. I hope 2020 is you stay healthy first and foremost, and I'm sure that you've got a massive future, and you'll smash all those goals that you've got. So
thanks so much, Lois. It's so good to see you, and so good to see like the next chapter that's happening for you as well. So.
Oh, thank you. You made me cry. Thanks, Jess. Appreciate it.
See you later.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.